What's up, boys? Sorry for the huge delay with the second episode of Commissioner on a Couch, but as most of you know, I am a student first and a commissioner second. Since it's already Saturday, the show will be a little shorter than normal, and I'll start off with a quick recap of last week's games, followed by the always popular weekly spotlight, and then I'll finish off with a look ahead at tomorrow's matchups. So let's get right into the recap. If you would have told me 2 weeks ago that last week's action was going to be 4 blowouts and 1 close game, I would have told you, thanks for wasting my time, you cock gobbler. In any case, that's exactly what happened. How's the air down there versus It's So Fluffy? Arian Foster came back in a big way against the Steelers' defense, and Cam Newton was his usual ridiculous self for Fluffy, ensuring a 149-100 win over the air. This Fluffy team is much better than their 2-2 record, and with a good deal of depth on the bench, they could make a huge push during the upcoming bye weeks. As for how's the air down there, at 1-3, this team is definitely in trouble, and word on the street is that he refuses to pay the commissioner the $20 league fee. Hello versus Oak Nation. In the only close matchup of the week, Hello was able to overcome one of the best fantasy weeks in recent memory by Aaron Rodgers, who put up a ridiculous 46 points, by countering with an equally ridiculous feat by the Baltimore Ravens defense, who managed to generate 34 points against the anemic New York Jets offense. Needless to say, that's a very tough loss for Oak Nation. Coco's Finest versus Warriors 55. 156-86. A 70-point differential. The Toyota biggest blowout of the week. Did Coco actually pull it off in keeping with the biggest blowout pattern that had been developing this far this season? In a word, no. Before the season started, Coco's GM was adamant about the fact that his squad was risky, but it had the potential to be great. So far, the juice hasn't been worth the squeeze for Coco. Stingers versus Camp by Experience. The Stingers suffered their first loss of the season, 125-72, against Camp by Experience. They still lead the Budge Bandit Warriors division at 3-1, but with 3 teams at 2-2, the Stingers definitely have to be feeling the heat and looking over their shoulder right now. As for Camp by Experience, they are quietly becoming one of the best teams in the league, and like I've been saying since the beginning of the season, they are a team to watch. Finally, the average JPs against the Redskin Warriors. The JPs made quick work of the Redskin Warriors, 149-91, to remain on top of the East of Sources division, with Camp by Experience hot on their heels. The Redskins had 4 players combined for 7 points, and you're not going to win very many matchups with that kind of production. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back with the weekly spotlight. Criminal Minds Season 5 on DVD now. Get it at HMV. Criminal Minds. It's too scary to watch. Me and Orly watched it, but it was too scary, so we turned it off. And we're back for the weekly spotlight. As promised last week, the weekly spotlight will feature a GM of a team that was spotlighted during the first week of the season, but never got the chance to make it on the show. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Amin Itwazoo, General Manager of Camp by Experience. Welcome to the show, Mr. Itwazoo. And let's get right into the question period. So we'll start off with the first question. Do you like the direction that the league is headed?
Yeah. I think it's headed in the right direction, in my opinion. I mean, 3 years ago, I think, is when the league started, and it's made great strides. I think it's taken more seriously. I mean, we have a show out of it now. So the commissioner takes it really serious. He obviously puts a lot of time into this, and I think money as well. Now that there's money involved, it's become more serious, more interesting. I mean, I could tell you personally, I would miss weeks last year. I'd go and I'd forget to update my team. I'd forget to even look, and I didn't. Not that I didn't care. It wasn't a bother if I lost or won, but with $20 and now, what is it, 100 and something for the winner, I mean, definitely not chump change. So take it more seriously, follow through on every week, check my teams, watch the games on Sunday. Definitely do that anyways, but look at the scores on Sunday, keep up with the fantasy teams,
So financial motivation, a big...
huge plus.
Big issue for you.
Always a huge plus.
There you go. Money gets people off their asses, is what he's trying to say. So for the second question, what's the story behind your team name?
Actually, a lot of people are going to want to take credit for this, i.e. the general manager of the average JPs, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it was all my idea. Even though the man who actually came up with the name is right beside me right here, Anthony came up with the name. It came about on our flag football team. We had a few tough games. We were always the underdog, and we ended up going through to win the whole thing. And can't buy experience was set after the first win against the number one seeded team, and it just became our motto throughout the playoffs and on our run to the championship. So yeah, that's where the name came from.
Sounds like a good story.
Well, it's not that great.
Anyways, moving on to the next question. Does it bother you that some people are saying that you'll never be able to win the big one?
I just want to know who says it.
They have to remain
never-
nameless.
I don't know who it is, but anyways, I'm not gonna say they're not right. I'm not gonna say they are right. But I've been in the league 2-3 years now, and yeah, I haven't made it into the playoffs. So I guess they're somewhat right. But I think with this year, I've had a good start. Maybe I'll make playoffs and prove the doubters or the nameless people wrong. I guess we'll go with
the naysayers.
The naysayers wrong. We'll go with that.
All right, sounds good. You're looking pretty good so far this season, so maybe the big one could come sooner rather than later.
Hopefully this week doesn't disappoint.
Question 4. If there was one thing that you could change about the league, what would it be?
Honestly, I've liked the changes we made from last year. Primarily, we went to a roster with no defensive players, and that to me is a huge change. I can tell you personally, I hated the fact that I lost last year a few games because of some defensive players getting interceptions or getting 7 tackles in a game. I'm not going to say it's unfair, but it's a cheap way to win in my opinion. I've also liked the money difference. It's huge. Like I said, I think that's the biggest difference. I think everybody, I know, speaking to another GM, that he's taken it a lot more seriously this year. I guess he's taking it seriously because he was always left out of football conversations when we were at work, but I guess that was his main reason. But I'm gonna say money is probably a big reason as well, and for me personally, it is. It's the biggest reason I'm taking it more serious, and I've definitely studied for the draft. I follow week to week. I haven't made any waiver wire pickups or anything, but I like my team, so I didn't have to. I don't feel like I have to. So
you're looking for chemistry,
long haul chemistry. Excellent. I want my team to like each other.
All right, finally with the last question, who do you think is the most dangerous team in the league, and who do you think could be a dark horse later on in the season?
Well, here I have 2 teams. I'm not going to call them a dark horse because average JPs are first in their division right now. I like their team. I think he made a good decision picking a lot of skill position players, as in a lot of good wide receivers. Mainly wide receivers. He took a lot of wide receivers in the draft, and with the addition of the flex position in our league, that's proven to be very, very important, especially with his Steve Smith. I think his Steve Smith pick was huge, and because he's having a
sleeper of the year.
He's having a comeback season. But a team that I could see as a dark horse, they're 2-2. I don't know if they're 2-2 right now, but a team that I could see as a dark horse is definitely Oak Nation. They have the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. These quarterbacks get them 50 points every week. So I mean, there's 7-8 other positions, and if every position can get you an average of 10 points, you're looking at 130 points every single week. Which, if you look at our scores, 130 points will get you a win. So maybe he's had a bit of bad luck this first few weeks, but Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers will get you 50 points every week. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not going to have his 46 point every week, but they'll get you 50 points a week. I mean, you'll always get it. So I feel like that's a dark horse team, and like you said earlier, It's So Fluffy has a very deep roster, and they're much better than their 2-2 records. So, but Oak Nation is definitely the team to watch for me.
Just as a little side note to that, the Oak Nation general manager still has never been met by anyone else in the league. Has never shown his face.
I don't even know.
Has never contacted anyone in the league.
So but he made the draft. So I mean,
he made the draft. Rumor has it that Oak Nation is just Coco's finest GM's second team. So that has yet to be proven, but we'll have to we'll have to do an inquiry.
If there's a weird trade, a shady trade between Oak Nation and Cocos, then
look for Peyton Manning goes down and Oak Nation trades him Aaron Rodgers.
That would not be cool. Hopefully the commissioner has his people on this. And,
that's something for the Security Council to take care of.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you very much, Amin. Good luck this season.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you on the gridiron. All right, so finally with a look ahead to tomorrow's matchups, and then we'll end it off. How's the Air Down There is playing Coco's Finest. This is a battle of the basement dwellers, the 9 and 10 seeds respectively, so don't lose sleep over this matchup. It's So Fluffy versus two teams that truly hate each other, two general managers that truly hate each other, two conflicting ideologies, Pakistani and an Israelite. So this one is for major bragging rights all across Asia. The Stingers versus Oak Nation. The Stingers need to get back on track, but after their first loss last week, obviously. But who knows how many points Aaron Rodgers will put up this week. The over-under is 96 on Bodog.net. There's a little plug for you, Bodog. So over-under 96.5 points for Aaron Rodgers this week. The average JPs versus Warriors 55. This is probably the best matchup of the week, in my opinion. And the Warriors have looked pretty good so far this season, but they risk falling under 500 against a very strong JP's team this week. Finally, the Redskin Warriors versus Camp by Experience. This is the first bye week of the season, as most of you should know. Otherwise, just give me your $20 and call it quits. And the first bye week has hit the Redskin Warriors pretty hard on the roster front, so it's gonna be tough competing against a very strong and relatively full Camp by Experience squad. Anyways, that's it for this week, boys. Go Habs go. Eric Cole is scoring 2 PPGs tomorrow. You heard it here first. Peace.